You know, in a way, standing right next to the interstate is somewhat calming, but yet a little bit scary at the same time. But anyway, what's up you guys? Chet-Guthrie the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from the outskirts of Calhoun, Tennessee. Now you all must be wondering why I am standing out here right next to the highway. Well, there is a good reason for that. You see, on the morning of December 11th, 1990, a patrolman by the name of Bill Dyer was called to the scene. As the officer makes his way down the road, probably just expecting a small pileup, the report from the patrol officer that he got was that one 18-wheeler had crashed right into another 18-wheeler. But this story will unfold, and it will become what is perhaps one of the worst wrecks in United States history. And quite honestly, if you're out along this highway, along this main highway thoroughfare, you would never know that this horrible, horrible accident had ever even taken place. Anyway, let me show you how the wreck started. Now, one thing to note about this area, not far from us is the Hiwassee River. Now, the Hiwassee River starts in North Carolina, makes its way down here, but in this area it is prone to a lot of fog warnings. Well, on that particular morning, Bill Dyer, he comes to this bridge right here and he sees a truck crashed into another truck. However, this truck has a very dangerous chemical on it. One truck has natural peroxide in it, the other has dried ice. When these two trucks collided with one another, it created a type of gas that made it almost impossible to breathe. Officer Dyer was met with this. He could not breathe, but while he was out here tending to these two trucks, he heard one smash and then he heard another. Pretty soon, Officer Dyer, he was hearing crashes left and right. Crashing metal, breaking metal, busting metal. It was hard for him to believe. Some people that were entering this wreck site and crashing into these cars, they described the fog as almost like being a blanket covering their window. They couldn't see anything. In hearing this, Bill Dyer, he tells the dispatchers to shut Interstate Highway 75 down. Now, what turned into 2 cars became 10, then 20, and then pretty soon you had close to a 99 car, and then it came close to a 100 car pileup. Now, some people were stuck in their cars. They could not get them out. Some EMTs, they simply had to watch as people burned alive in their cars. Now, as mentioned, with this big giant truck and this other 18-wheeler that collided in with one another, people were still being met with the same toxic gas. Right here is where the gas was emitted. But these men, these women, some that were stuck in their cars, they could not breathe. It was absolutely atrocious. Now, there is another person to tell in this horrible story, and his name was Priest Bob Brody. He was with the St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Athens, Tennessee at the time, and actually he had gotten, or I should say, just gotten out of a meeting with other priests. Now, Priest Brody, he was also the chaplain for the Tennessee State Patrol. So in doing so, he made his way southbound down from the Athens area, and he came to a pileup that was about 6 miles long. Starting from there and where it originally started, southbound. However, the northbound as well, it had cars piling up on it as well. Now, Priest Bob Brody, he was praying over those who were injured in this wreck. As I stated, there was about 51 people that were injured in this wreck. There were about 12 people who died. Out of those 12 people, Bob Brody, he prayed over 7 of the dead, which, might I add, a morgue, a makeshift morgue, was set up along the median here along the interstate. Now, of course, there's not really anything left of that, except maybe a few trees. But here, about 32 years ago, there were 7 bodies that were taken here, taken care of, and Bob Brody prayed over those that were either dead or dying. There is even one report that that Brody was actually praying praying for 2 kids that had been stuck in a car, and quite honestly, they did manage to survive, I believe. Now, there was sadly one group that did pass that were not saved out of those 12, and what that was is it was a little boy. Now, his father did survive the wreck, his mother didn't, and what Priest Bob Brody did is he told the son to go with his father, which was in Chattanooga. Now, at this time were those who had been injured, some minor, some not, some more, of course, more deadlier than others. Some people were taken to Bradley Memorial in Cleveland, Tennessee. 3 of them were airlifted to Erlanger, and the rest of them were taken care of at the hospital. But others were also taken to Athens, Tennessee, which is just up the road here. They were also taken care of. But yet, you would not think that one of the worst disasters in interstate highway travel happened along this main thoroughfare here. It, honestly, you would not think of it to be that way. And now, as I stated, it was a very thick fog that caused all this, because this area is very much prone to fog. Some people reported before, like 10 minutes before the wreck, the fog in this area actually was not all that bad. In fact, it was in patches, but within a matter of minutes, this fog had seemingly become so thick and so deadly that it caused this tragedy. And I'm going to take you to what they believe caused this gigantic, thick fog. So let's get to a safer place. I have paid my respects. Let me show you. Okay, now, not far from the Calhoun exit on I-75, this is what some believe what caused the thick fog that morning. About 10 minutes before, at about 9 o'clock, before this thick fog came through, Bowater, which is a paper treatment plant, they make a lot of paper products, they poured about, I want to believe, about 200-300 gallons of water into their cooling ponds. Now, this water contains a lot of chemicals, a lot of other things, what have you. But what some people believe is the moment that they poured that water, that warm water, into that cold water, that is what caused a big cloud of fog to combust, grow, and spread across the Tennessee Valley airways. Those cooling ponds were right next to the bridge on I-75 that runs right across the Hiwassee River. That's why people believe that's what caused the fog. However, Bowater managed to say that it was not them who caused it. There could have been no way. But still, Bowater paid a $10 million out-of-court settlement to the families that had lost their lives and, well, the families who had been horribly hurt. So it almost kind of makes me believe that this was Bowater's contribution to one of the worst highway disasters in Tennessee history. But I'm not going to point fingers at Bowater, because fog has been, well, this area has been infamous for I'm not going to blame Bowater, because this area has been infamous for fog formations for the last couple of 100 years. Actually, in the 1970s, there was another major crash that took the lives of about 7 people. That was on Easter Sunday of 1974. And the cops in that situation, that's why they put up fog advisory signs, just as the ones that you all saw at the beginning of the video. Now, however, before those signs were put up, there were officers that would be stationed at each end of the highway to monitor this phenomenon. However, after this major wreck in 1990, it made a lot of people consider a lot of things. But anyway, you guys, I'm glad I came out here, and I'm glad that I did a story on this, because I wasn't even born when all of this happened. But anyway, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this story. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot. Goes to show that y'all care and that you all want to see more awesome videos. So without further ado, you guys, vlog over.